Did you know that the East Slavs have their own version of Halloween? That day, people on territories of modern Ukraine, Russia, Belarus and other Eastern European countries dress into special costumes and go from house to house to collect sweets, candies and even money. Yes, money. When I was young, this is how I made my first money. By learning how to sing special songs that we call Koliadka and by going with my friends from house to house to perform them. Today this tradition is closely tied to Christian Christmas, but it has roots in pre-Christian pagan traditions. Here is an example of probably the most famous Ukrainian Koliadka song. It's called Shedrik. Let me show it to you for a few seconds and try to guess where else have you heard it. What a beautiful song, but don't you recognize it? Right, it's Carol of the Bells. But many people are not aware that originally this song was Ukrainian Koliadka or Shedrivka, and it had nothing to do with Christianity. It tells a story of a swallow flying into a household to sing of wealth that will come with the following spring. Today, of course, Koliadkas are mostly Christmas carols which describe the birth of Jesus and biblical stories, but let me tell you about this Slavic pagan tradition in the second part of this video. Now I'd like to share with you about the magic Veles Night. It is another interesting holiday in Eastern Europe that also reminds Halloween. Its name Veles Night or Velesova Noche. Some people even call it Slavic Halloween. Both holidays are celebrated on the night from October 31st to November 1st. It is named after Veles, a Slavic god associated with cattle breeding and wealth. Maybe some of you remember my video about Slavic paganism where I speak about this god. In Slavic mythology, he is also associated with the underworld. November was revered as the gateway to winter or to darkness, and Veles Night symbolized the transition of the earthly world from the power of light to the power of darkness. This was the time when nature was dying, or when all living nature falls into sleep. The soil goes to rest and will awake from this sleep only during next spring. By this time, people in villages would normally complete their work in gardens and fields. And people believed that on the last night of October, doors between our world and the world of spirits are open. And during this night, spirits can penetrate into the world of people and people into the world of spirits. At the same time, God Veles was a guardian of the path between these two worlds. So you can imagine that in some regions it wasn't a night of celebration. People were trembling in anxiety, knowing that the doors between the worlds are open and evil spirits can visit the earth. Therefore, many saw it as something extremely dangerous. But I must admit that this special day was celebrated differently by different East Slavs or people in the Baltic region. Ethnographers today don't have enough data and evidence to describe everything in detail. Often our knowledge and even written records depend on what some people remember about what their ancestors told them. Yet we know that at least in some villages during this night from October 31st to November 1st, people had a tradition to dance around bonfires. They would dress in traditional clothing and could wear masks. The rituals performed during Veles Night are believed to bring protection. Sometimes people would jump over the fire and walk on hot coal. It symbolized the purification of the body and soul of evil spirits. Participants honored Veles and other spirits through various ritual songs and offerings. Other people saw it as a time to venerate their ancestral spirits and nature deities. The Slavs believed that this night deceased family members returned to visit their relatives. Therefore, people would clean the house, making sure that everything looks nice, they would cook special meal and arrange a silent dinner. They even would set the table not only for themselves, but also for the deceased relatives whom they'd like to invite to the meal. Lighting a candle would help their soul find the way to their home. During this evening, it was customary to revise good things about the deceased relatives, and it was traditionally to leave a treat outside the house for the guests from the spiritual world. Also, Slavs thought that during Veles Night, relatives who visited living ones could teach them something meaningful or provide protection or warn about something important. So, no surprise that it was time for fortune-telling and prediction of the future. Also, no surprise that many magicians and fortune-tellers considered god Veles to be their patron. And the greatest luck was if this night people could see some deceased relatives in a dream. Some even could ask a particular deceased relative to appear to them and give them advice about certain difficult issue. Or many Slavic peasants believed that their wishes could be fulfilled that night. So they would write their wishes on a piece of paper and put it under the pillow. And before the bedtime, they would say something like, "A dark night, I curse you to help me. Veles, work hard and give me what I desire." On one hand, both Veles Night and Celtic Samhain, that is traditionally tied to what eventually turned into Halloween, have in common the date, which is October 31st, and both festivals mark the end of the harvest season and beginning of winter, or darker half of the year. The essence of the celebration is also similar, because in both cases we are talking about contact with the world of spirits. In addition, on both Veles Night and Halloween, it is customary to dress up as mystical creatures or evil spirits. But since we don't have too many records, it's hard to make any serious parallels. And now I'd like to return to the time of Christmas in pre-Christian Eastern Europe. In the pagan traditions of Slavic and Baltic peoples, Koliadka was a winter festival celebrating the winter solstice, or the shortest day and longest night of the year. First Koliadkas described ancient people's ideals about creation, natural phenomena, and structure of the world. The festival marked the triumph of light over darkness and the gradual return of longer days. It symbolized the rebirth of the sun and the beginning of the new agricultural cycle. These days, East Slavs, long before the arrival of Christianity, would sing ritual songs that they call Koliadka. They were chanted by groups of people who went from house to house, dressed in masks and costumes, and sang blessing and well wishes to the household. The purpose of these songs was to bring fertility, prosperity, and protection from evil spirits to the community. It was believed that the songs had magical properties capable of influencing the natural world and ensuring a successful agricultural year. During such Koliadka celebrations, people also made sacrifices and offerings to deities and spirits. Animals, food, and other items were offered as gifts to gain favor and protection. Bonfires were lit to symbolize the returning sun and provide warmth and light during the longest night of the year. Then, sometimes the ashes from these bonfires were spread on fields as a form of fertility magic. Anyway, people performed various rituals and decorated their houses just like many do today during Halloween season. When winter is approaching, people felt anxiety and needed to ensure some security or protection, because everyone wants to successfully survive the cold winter. People also believed that during this time, the boundaries between the living and the dead were blurred, and spirits, both good and evil, roamed the earth. So to appease these spirits and ensure a good harvest and well-being for the community, songs, rituals, and offerings were made. Of course, later, with the advent of Christianity, when Christianity spread across Eastern Europe, many pagan traditions were assimilated and adapted into Christian celebrations. So the content of Koliadkas began to acquire Christian meaning and features. But originally, such songs were usually about heavenly bodies such as the sun, moon, and stars, and how to live in harmony with nature. When Christianity came to these lands, people adapted some of their Koliadka songs with Christian motifs, but ethnographers, for example in Ukraine, see how it preserves the essential part of cultural heritage of local people. Such songs reflect the country's rich history and the blending of pagan and Christian traditions. Now a few words about Svyatki. In many Eastern European countries, Christian celebrations run from January 6th to January 19th, and it's called Svyatki. That is the period between Christmas and Epiphany, and it also has some similarities with Halloween, because it's believed that at this time of the year the world has not yet been baptized, so evil spirits can easily walk around the earth. According to legends, spirits are especially active on Epiphany Eve, which is the night of January 19th, and Vasiliev evening, which is January 13th. There were different pagan customs that have ancient origins and are deeply rooted in Slavic folklore, but then they blended with Christian tradition. So for centuries we could see how on Christmas Day young people dressed up in costumes of various animals or unknown evil spirits. They knocked on the doors of houses and sang songs. For this they were treated with sweets, which is again quite similar to Halloween. This is how this type of caroling is called in different Eastern European countries. So to conclude, as I've mentioned in the beginning, we may find some similarities between Halloween and the Veles Night, but also with traditional Ukrainian or Slavic Koliadkas, when people walk from house to house and ask for sweets. But what do you think? Are they really similar? Maybe you have something like that in your culture? Please share in the comments below. And also don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my video about Slavic paganism, mythology and gods. The link is in the description. I wish you peace and health wherever you are.